Yes.
And welcome to Christy's channel.
You're the next contestant. Come on down.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, wow.
Yes. That was a great intro. I gotta say, I like the idea of intro music. Let us know when you can see us, guys.
Wait, you can tell a really bad joke too.
Dad joke? You got some dad jokes?
Yeah, tell me a bad joke. I'll give you something.
Man, I was just doing bad jokes the other night with my niece. I forgot them all. Yeah.
Very good. Okay, we're live. Thank you, Starstream Live. I hope you heard our wonderful noises over here. Welcome. This is the 4th live stream about the Brothers Karamazov by Fyodor Dostoevsky. Our hashtag is Brothers Karamazov 2021. This is going to be a live stream discussing books 8 through 10. And there will be spoilers like immediately ahead for books 1 through 7. So if you want to watch a live stream with us that will not spoil you, we do have an introductory live stream that is linked down below. I also have playlists of all of the Codex Cantina's very spoilery analysis videos about this book, as well as Victoria's Spotify playlist that she put together of Russian music. So yeah, I hope that you will come back if you haven't read it. But yes, let's move on to our actual what we're talking about today. So while I'm making a few announcements and everybody's introducing themselves, please tell us in the chat, who do you think murdered Fyodor Karamazov? Please tell us. We want to know. So first of all, I want to make sure that you all have joined our literary discourse Discord server, which is where we are checking in between live streams to talk with you guys. There's been some great discussion on there leading up to it. So that's linked in the description, and there will be other read-alongs there. There's other read-alongs happening. So definitely check that out. Our next live stream will be April 1st at 7 p.m. EST, 4 p.m. PST, same time as tonight. And that will cover books 11 through the end, and that will also be on this channel. So the schedule for our reading is linked down below, as well as alongside the Discord and the other links that I mentioned. And I just wanted to have everybody introduce themselves again, in case this is your first time here. Who should we start with? Should we start with Brother Una?
Oh, me? Oh, okay. Hi, I'm Brother Una from the Codex Cantina.
And I am the other half of... yeah, we almost kind of did it. A little late there. Crypto from the Codex Cantina.
That took some practice. Victoria, would you like to introduce yourself?
I'm Victoria from A Musical Bookworm. Hello.
And all of these wonderful people have their own channels that are linked down below. And Peg?
Hi, and I'm Peg, and I'm from the History Shelf. Good evening.
And she's a big fan of Russian history, so...
Gloaming.
Every book behind her is on Russian history.
Wow. That's impressive.
Well, not quite, but pretty close. Pretty close.
There's a lot of them in there. And more have just recently arrived, I hope. I know that there was a sale last time around.
Was I supposed to show you the 5-volume set of...
Oh, you're good. You don't... I mean, if you have them, I'd love to see them, but I didn't, to warn you, so don't worry about it.
I didn't even think about it. It would be quite fitting for this, maybe at the end.
It would be. Oh, that would be really fun if you have them at hand. If you can actually, hold them up.
I can.
Yeah.
I just finished that book, Peg, the Orthodox Church. So now we can have our live stream chat on that.
Oh, excellent. Let me get my what do they wear? The mitre, or is that the Pope?
Oh, I don't know.
I'm getting into what they wear. It's kind of cool.
The costumes.
The Pope and then the Metropolitan. It's a lot of cool stuff going on there.
Hello, everybody in the chat. It is good to see you guys. Danny, wait, Dimitri didn't do it? Oh, goodness. This is great.
So
the dog did it.
Should we start off? should we start off talking about that? Like, what
Sure,
did you? Oh, wait, are you doing a recap here?
Yeah, so, well, what I was thinking we would do for this time is a little different than what we were doing. I was thinking we could actually go in order, whoa, like from book 8 down to book 10. So I have little summaries just to remind everybody of what happened and to kind of kick off our discussion. So if that's okay, I'll just give you guys a little summary here. So in book 8, if you recall, Dmitri is running around like a madman. He's trying to get enough money to pay back Katerina and earn Grushenka's love. He thinks in order to be respectable, he has to pay back his debt. And we see there his heart, which Peg pointed out a long time ago, that he has a good heart, ripe for redemption. Then he learns of Grushenka's latest and final trick to run away and meet the man that she has been waiting for 5 years. And so that just makes him go crazy. He goes to kill his father, changes his mind, whacks Grigory over the head in his escape, and thinking that he's killed Grigory, he pretty much gives up on life. He just wants to see Grushenka again before killing himself. So he buys a whole bunch of party supplies and just rides like mad to meet her, along with a bunch of Polish men that she's just like hanging out with. And
Makes sense.
As you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't see anything wrong with this so far.
No,
Why do you have
very
this condescending
sensible.
tone?
I'm sorry if I have a tone. I do love him. He's great, but he's a little nuts here. But then suddenly he starts detecting like the sense that maybe she could love him back. Maybe she could have feelings. And so he throws the big party. He supposedly spends 3,000 rubles on food, which they keep mentioning. So I'm guessing that's important. The amount of money, the 3,000 rubles. Then the police show up at the very end after he's finally won Grushenka, and they accuse him of murder, most foul, of his father. So that was a switch. So to our friends in the chat and to everybody up here, were you rooting for Grushenka and Dmitri? And that's firstly. Secondly, how did you react to the murder at that point before hearing Dmitri's testimony, as well as theories? Who killed Father Karamazov? Who wants to start?
Was I rooting for them? Oh,
Yes.
Always got to root for true love, right? I mean,
You are the romantic.
can anybody say no to that?
Interestingly enough, the center of attention right now is the romantic on this chat, as far as I'm aware.
I'm the romantic?
You're the closet romantic, and you know it.
I hate everybody. I just hate everybody equally.
So the murder, right? The way it is written, okay. I think we've led enough up to this. Were you guys shocked about, how Grigory comes out and yells "parricide," and there's almost kind of like a blank out moment, and we get the bludgeoning of Grigory, but we don't specifically see what happened with Fyodor, right? And sometimes authors will do this because something that's just so heinous, something that's so deep and rocking a person's individual, the character literally forgets, like it's out of his consciousness. What did you guys think about the writing of this when it comes to, we've been leading up to this, and it's kind of like, did Tolkien write this? We just passed out in the middle of this big moment that was something was finally supposed to happen. Like how did that hit you guys?
I think there's a big tonal shift, right? Through most of this part of the book, we've always come back to that it felt very comical, and you definitely feel that the humor has been sucked out of the book at this point in time, and that violence is no longer just something looming in the background. It's actually happened, and you see this big moment of shift that takes place in the book. And I know everybody talks about book 5, but this really does feel like the change in, all right, now he's really trying to get to the point of the story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have to agree. And I think that's where my reading, where I was really flying through the pages. And so I think for me, books 8 and 9 is where I couldn't put it down. Now I know we'll get to this later, but I hit a brick wall in book 10. And some of you might like it. I'm going to be on the opposite side of that argument.
Oh yeah, fight me. I love book 10.
That
Me
one was
too.
grueling. It was grueling to finish book 10. I'm just going to put it out there.
Whoa. Okay, well, we will have a section about book 10 a little later, but that surprises me. That was like the easiest section for me to read yet.
I felt the same way as Peg on book 10, but yeah, we'll
Okay.
get into that later.
Wait,
None of you were alone. A lot of people in the Discord felt that way.
Squish
Yeah,
you both.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
I think Cryptos and I are the only ones who liked it.
This is the part with the cards, right? Where the two Polish individuals were playing, or is that 9?
No,
That's
it's
9.
Yeah,
Is it
10
9?
begins
Okay.
with Kolya.
Okay.
Yeah.
Book 10 is all about
All
the
about
young boys.
It's the backstory.
Alyosha.
But yeah,
Yeah.
it's a backstory of sorts. But
I love context. What can I say? I'm a sucker.
So a big thing with Dostoevsky's writing in any novel is redemption. So if Dmitri is guilty of murder here, what's his chance at redemption here? What does Dmitri need to do to turn this around in the eyes of a Christian law?
he has to repent and receive the punishment, and he looks like he gladly does that towards the end of the book. I mean,
So
towards
this is book 9 that we're talking about?
But here's the thing, I don't think he did it. Are you
Why is
saying that's why? Well, okay.
Tell us, Peg.
Give us the
I actually-
details.
I actually believe that he is. I believe that he's truthful. He makes a fine point about, I may be a scoundrel, but I'm not a thief. You know what I mean? So it's these little things, and I kind of believe what he said, and I believe what Grushenka knew about his heart as well. And she said, I'm telling you right now, he would never do that. He might have gone there with the intention, or thought he might, but he could never go through with it. And I still think I'm on track with my original prediction that it's Ivan, because Ivan's been very conveniently absent for a very long time. Now he's supposed to be in Moscow, and maybe he is, but I still think he was up to something before he skipped town.
Can I ask you a question, follow-up?
Yes.
What about his suicidal thoughts?
Which Ivan or Dmitri?
Dimitri's now. You don't think that that's a sign of guilt? I mean, he's all about life and pleasure, and now
About
he's having...
action. He's the man that gets results with action too.
He was going to kill himself because he thought he killed Grigory.
You sure?
I'm pretty sure. But I'm sounding like you're saying I'm wrong.
I'm simply asking questions. That
And I
for
see
some reason
Christy's
he's giving
head.
up this
Christy's like-
desire.
Sorry,
He's giving up this
I'm trying to
desire
lean
for
forward
life.
and read the chat.
He always
Okay.
had this desire for this extraordinary, wealthy, lavish lifestyle, and he's wanting to give that all out to become worm food. I don't know. I'm
I
simply
thought
made
he-
an observation.
I thought he was suicidal because of Grushenka, and he thought that he and Grushenka couldn't be together.
Oh, there's
and
another
that,
idea.
and that he still felt guilty about the money issue with Katerina. I mean, he had a lot of guilt for other things, but I don't think it was because he killed his father.
You don't think? Okay, cool.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know for sure, but I still think Ivan has got some role to play here. And I saw that in book 11, we're going to focus on Ivan. So that's good. Maybe I'll get some answers.
You just want your boy's name dragged through the mud, right? What about you, Victoria? What did you think about this murder scene? It sounds like there's a chance Dmitri didn't do it. Okay. Where are you on?
I agree with Peg in that Dimitri's character, I think we've seen, like, he's very passionate, but he's also very honest about who he is. And I don't think he is a liar. Like, I think if he did kill his father, I think it would have come out. Like, I think he would have told them that. Because he doesn't have a reputation as dishonest at this point. but he has a reputation for a lot of other negative things, but not for dishonesty. Like, he knows who he is. And even the conversation we get with him when he's talking about, like, I know I'm going to hell, but I'm still gonna praise God. I thought that was so interesting because, like, he really knows himself, and like he knows his own failings, but he also still, like, I don't know, he still strives to not be that way, you know? So I personally, I like Dimitri now, and I'm rooting for him because I think he's an interesting character. And I don't think he did it.
Now detective theory would say, okay, body on the ground, right? Fyodor's gone. We have this pistol, right? We have him at the scene, right? We have him walking around town saying that he's going to kill people. We have him throwing these parties. Dimitri's a suspect. If you think it's not Dimitri, who else do you offer up and why?
Okay, so funny enough, I was thinking it was gonna be like Grigory or someone who was the killer, but now Grigory is on the ground, so I'm like, okay, I guess it's not Grigory. So that threw off my theory.
Which way did Dimitri leave when he ran away?
Well, he tried to get over the fence.
Did he go to the left or did he go to the right?
Here we go with the left-right thing again. I thought he went to the right.
This is a reference, of course, to the Codex Cantina's last video on the Brothers Karamazov, which was very, very interesting. You should definitely check it out. It covered more of what we sort of missed when we were covering the Grand Inquisitor. We didn't talk a lot about Zosima, but they do. So definitely check that out.
Please.
And I want to bring up one thing that I recalled throughout that whole sep, the scene in the garden, the Grigory, the Dimitri, the scene where, okay, remind me, the people that knew the knocks were, Dimitri knew about the knocking code, right? Smerdyakov knew about it, but I recall, and I didn't go back to check, but I recall that Smerdyakov told Ivan about the knocking signal. So Ivan knows the code.
No.
So that does not rule him out, and that's why I'm still.
Oh, you just want Ivan to be guilty.
You're just such a Dimitri fan.
I like Dimitri, man. He is.
You would
just
make the worst juror.
I got dismissed from a jury once. I sure did. You mentioned. I absolutely did.
That's funny.
That's hilarious.
But
Now-
yeah, but isn't that valid though? The fact that he would only open the door to whoever had that certain set of raps and knocks and whatever. So you have to say who knew them. Smerdyakov was having a epileptic fit, right, during all this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, but I don't know. It comes down to, and I know no one's talking about Alyosha anymore. I think everyone's like, oh no, there's no way. There's no way.
Right.
He did that. He's
Okay, so
insane.
we're saying Alyosha's out. Couldn't be him. Right? We're saying Smerdyakov had the alibi with the epileptic attacks, right?
Yeah.
Ivan has no alibi, and he has the opportunity to sneak in. What's his motive?
Yeah, what's his motive?
It's like playing the game Clue. With the wrench in the lobby.
I don't think he loves his father in any sense. I think he despises him. But I wonder, like, all right. That's me.
There you go, Meg.
I don't think Ivan is I can't remember if he was well off with money or not. I don't think he was more well-to-do than Dimitri. Someone else help me remember a little bit more. It's been so long in these books that we last seen Ivan that it's just like I need a little refresher.
It has been a while.
Okay. And then Victoria, did you offer up who it would be?
No. I feel like I'm eliminating people. I'm like, okay, maybe not you. But
we need that
I will
board.
say Leslie brings up a good point.
Oh wow, I didn't even
Leslie
realize
brings up a good point.
that he does
Yes.
fake them. Okay. So
Okay.
he still could be a suspect.
Okay,
Mhm.
it's back on the table then. All right, let's do this. But he was also in the house with Grigory and the wife, though, right? So technically, they'd be in the. It'd be likely that they would notice if he wasn't there, right?
Yeah, you'd think.
Okay.
So for my thoughts on this, I left some in the Discord and then I promptly got spoiled by my biography. So I'm not going to share my thoughts on who I think it is because
Boo.
that would just be no good. But we do have some fun comments here, so I just wanted to talk about those. There was a whole conversation about Grushenka in here. Leslie was rooting for someone to put Grushenka in her place, which I admit I was feeling a lot of it like that as well at various points. But then she becomes so like objectively like okay, this was kind of weird. She was like, Dimitri, love me, you know, beat me. It was like, whoa.
No, whoa, there was a line.
And it's been crossed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she totally though like I feel like she changed her tune a lot because I guess because Dimitri really chased her down. I don't know. He seemed so desperate for her the whole time that it was confusing to me why she suddenly changed her mind, but she clearly did because even when he got arrested, she's still like stuck with him. So
Well, when did she change her mind? Are we jumping into 9? We're jumping into 9 kind of, right?
a little bit there. Should I do the summary of 9?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Okay.
Let's get
I
8 and
just
9
wanted
on the
to-
table.
I really do love all these comments on Grushenka, so we'll have to come back to them.
We're going
Because she's
to Grushenka it up when you're done with your survey.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so for book 9, let's move into book 9. So after Dimitri is arrested, we start with book 9 with the investigation of I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce his name. Fyodor Perkotin, who follows Dimitri's steps the night of the murder. And he goes around questioning everybody who saw Dimitri, including Madame Kolikov, who had tried to convince Dimitri to go to the mines, if you remember that. He went to her, you know, asking for money, and she was like, go to the mines and become an honest man. That was like his
that scene
out.
was really funny. That scene was hilarious, I thought. I don't know if it was supposed to be funny, but I thought it was funny.
Yeah.
It was funny.
Hysterical. Yeah.
So part of the thing with her that my biography talks about, or maybe it was in the Pavir and Volokonsky translation, it talks about how he's poking fun at his intellectual rivals, Dostoevsky is, through the characters of Madame Kolikov and also Kolya in The Boys. They're both like espousing the beliefs of his rivals. So he's poking fun at them by putting their beliefs in the mouths of these crazy or young people. So, anyways, so, and then we get, after we see like how the investigation sort of happened, how they arrived at the party and arrested Dimitri, then we promptly go to Dimitri at the police station, and he's giving his fascinating testimony about his whereabouts and his doings for the past couple days. And he goes through an emotional roller coaster during his testimony, which was really interesting to watch because we get a really good picture, I think, of his psychology. And Victoria talked about his honesty. I think that definitely was something that came to the foreground. But there was also the notable lie that he made about the 3,000 rubles. So he's I feel like we come to understand him a lot better at that point. But anyway, so that was really interesting. He goes over his feelings regarding his treatment of Grigory and the fact that his father is dead, and about his treatment by the investigators, whom he thinks all the investigators are pretty much idiots. And in the end, the investigators feel like they have to arrest him, and Dimitri like understands why, because literally all reasonable people would probably think that, looking at all the evidence. It goes against reason not to arrest him, essentially. But at the end, he is feeling jubilant because he knows that Grushenka loves him, and the investigators have promised that they will find her innocent of any wrongdoing. And that's the end of book 9. So I was going to ask how you guys felt about Dimitri's testimony, and would you have believed him? And what did you think of his dream of the peasants? But we talked about a lot of that already.
Well, we know what Peg's gonna say.
Yeah.
It was Yvonne.
Allow me to throw my brother under the bus.
I double down. I'm not backing off. We'll see.
So what did you? So seriously, what did you think of his testimony?
So it really comes down to a lot of it is this big key of the 3,000 rubles, which Dostoevsky tells you over and over through places in the book. This will become very important later, or later on in my narrative. This is important, So I can't. Okay, I actually went back because when he was having that, what was the name of the inn owner? It was Trifoshin, Boroshkin or something, Borisich, Trifon. The inn owner where they were having that huge big party before I kill myself thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
He told the cops that he, the last time that he was there, he spent 3,000 rubles. And they're like, okay. They asked all the other people who were at the party, how much did you think he spent? Oh, easily 3,000. And they're like, not 1,500, 3,000, right? So they asked Dmitri, and he goes, no, I think it was around 1,500 that I spent. But, he's so kind of out of it. He's just like, well, whatever, whatever. Maybe it was 3,000. But I went back into the book where he had that first run-in with Trifon, and it was 1,500.
Mm-hmm.
But then Trifon says something, then Trifon says something about 3,000. And, Dimitri's just all excited. He goes, well, I'll be spending just as much now, But it didn't mean he was going to spend 3,000. It just means he said he had 1,500. So I don't think he lied.
It's kind of like the
spread
price
it around
is right.
to everybody, though.
What?
Sorry,
I was just making a joke that it's like the Price is Right, where like you also had Maximov who said it was 20,000, and he's like, the bills were like rainbows, because Russian money is multicolored. I thought that was hysterical.
That is funny.
But his admission of the information, admitting guilt.
But what was he admitting guilt of, though? Just that he kept 1,500 sewn around his neck, and he didn't reveal that to them? Is that what we're discussing?
Well, he could be omitting it because that's motive. The need
Money.
for money,
Yeah.
right? It's motive to those police officers at that point in time who found that Fyodor was missing $3,000, right? So
absolutely.
So to have rainbow parties, you need money, right?
And he, maybe as a kind of macho man, feeling a little bit shameful of what the money's true intent is in front of these tough police officers. That's something that he may not want to admit. And so he just kind of nonchalantly says, oh, no, I spent like 1,500, not 3,000, and they're stumbling and bumbling.
Okay.
Well, so let's say this too. We got to get to Grushenka, people, first of all. But second of all, why are we focusing on 3,000? We already determined that he had money. He had 1,500. Why are we so obsessed with this 3K in this whole investigation? Every other fact, every other piece of information was second to that. What do you think the point of that was?
I was wondering about that. I was hoping you would have an answer.
Well, it's up to interpretation, but I think this has to come down to what so to me, Dostoevsky, his social currency, I think you said it best, Christy, is money. Okay. Mm-hmm. Money buys you everything in a Dostoevsky novel. Money is what defines you in a Dostoevsky novel. So here comes Dmitri. He's are we going with aristocratic? He's upper class. He's not a peasant, right? And
I have to apologize really quick. I'm so sorry. I accidentally blocked knitting books, etc. for 5 minutes. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to block.
She's growling at you.
And you want to be our moderator.
My bad.
Did they guess the right person or something?
No, she said she clicked the wrong button.
I clicked the wrong button.
Oh,
sorry,
allegedly.
I just wanted to apologize.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
I think we need to interview this witnesses.
Interrogation.
So to me, he clearly has a need for money because while he is upper class, he has. They said that land was worth 10K, right? So if he has 10K in land, why is he so desperate for money? even as a man who has it, it's not liquidatable, right? And he was willing to sell that land to Liagavi, who stroked his beard with which hand?
I don't remember.
Was it
His
the left?
right hand.
Was it his left or was it right hand? Okay, well maybe someone look that up. And he, was he honest or was he a liar, right? So he goes to him trying to make these terrible deals, and then he goes to this pyramid schema with Madame Kokolov, which, yes, Victoria, was hysterical. That was one of my favorite parts. But I think, to me, one of the things that I took away is he's kind of pointing out, what will man do for money, right? Every single person will immediately sell out their soul, whether it be the people who have not or the people who have it but not immediately available. And it kind of becomes this currency for Dmitri for how he navigates around. Maybe by now, knitting books will come back by now, but after that tirade there. But what did you guys think? Why would Dmitri, who has land worth all this money, who has all these resources, why would he be in so much need for money right now with this whole Grushenka deal?
I thought he wanted money to pay back Katerina because he blew it all.
Half of it.
What's weird to me about Dmitri is that he doesn't work for money. He just asks other people for money. And I wonder if that's part of the social class as well. Like, working for money is not as honorable as like just having money, I don't know if there's anything to that, but
in the text somewhere it says like it just never occurred to him because he's like the son of a gentleman. So it would never occur to him that he could actually like go work for money. What? Like, which is just funny. I guess that's why he didn't take the mines thing seriously. Any other thoughts?
Well, I know we need to touch on Grushenka, right? Because this is what.
Okay, let's do it. Okay, Faith remembered something that I totally forgot. She had illusions about her old lover. I didn't understand a lot of the comments of the Polish men or about the Polish men, so I was a little bit confused about that exchange. But yeah, she had some illusions about him and they were dashed. I think was it because the Polish men were so insulted by stuff that Dmitri was saying? Because I think
we got to go to our
invaded.
I think we got to go to our history
people.
Yeah, this is a history buff question. So Peg.
Yeah, the Poles were not very. They did not really care for the Russians. I mean, the Polish people have been invaded, their lands taken. I mean, there's always been from east and west. So I totally, kind of related to what the Polish guys were saying, especially when Dmitri is like, especially year 18 something, where it was just like, oh no, the guys like, no, the other Polish guys like, or the lands existing before this time law, and then Dmitri's like, you silly fool, and they're getting ready to go to blows because, are you okay?
Yes, sorry. Pick up.
It's interesting stuff. The Polish were not big fans of the Russians, and the Russians thought they were better than the Poles. So,
and they did everything from splitting up the country into multiple territories. You have to remember too, like in terms of like the grand scheme of population, what is the religion of that area? And it's a lot of them are Jewish, right? And you'll notice that that's kind of, there's a big conflict with them and the Orthodox Church, right?
Well, yeah, but they're Catholics too.
But that's why I say like a big part of it is and you'll notice there's also a lot of Jewish references, right? Like the Jewish individuals are slammed a lot in this novel, which is probably one of the parts kind of, I think, for a lot of people to kind of look at sometimes, right? So you read those and you're kind of like, oh.
So interesting thing about that, I haven't even really noticed it so much in the book, but I read it in the biography that he made a bunch of anti-Semitic comments and remarks and stuff while he was writing that section about Father Zosima. And so his actions and words and stuff were so opposite from what he was writing. It's just like, oh, that's bad. But yeah, that's
so
just
how does this bring us back full circle to Grushenka.
Okay. All right. Let's go for Grushenka for a minute. What were we? Oh yeah, because okay, so Grushenka's mind was changed about her Polish fiance, I guess, or boyfriend. I don't know. I'm not sure what exactly he was to her. Faith pointed that out.
A sugar
so
daddy.
A John.
And it said at some point, I think that he betrayed her before then. So I don't know. I don't know. Some reason her eyes were opened. She goes back to Dmitri. But yeah, Leslie is right. She changed her tune a lot. It was really just hard to get a pulse on her feelings for anybody. But she said herself that she was just messing with like everybody. She was enraging them on purpose. So she was quite the playa.
And she's aware of it, and she was kind of apologetic about it. So she knew what she was doing.
But at the same time, was there ever a moment where you felt bad for her?
No.
Not even.
Yeah, I think it's important to note out. I mean, I don't think Dostoevsky wrote women all that great, but I think that he does write her pretty well for the fact that all she has is her promiscuity, and she uses that as a weapon to her advantage because that's all she had because of how women were treated in Poland, Eastern Europe, Russia at the time period. And she makes no qualms about that, and she doesn't say really sorry to anybody for that until she finally discovers who she is herself, and she decides on who she truly loves.
And notice you just said the word decides. She decides it, right? To the point of Dostoevsky made it very clear when Dmitri tried to decide that was unacceptable, right? It's only she decides when it's acceptable.
Yeah, I think she was a great character. I couldn't figure her out, but that she was a good character. So I like this comment as well by Faith. I think Faith understood her pretty well. And yes, okay. Who is? I don't know this reference because I've never seen Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, but
that's a good one.
Oklahoma, 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 Oklahoma.
Basically, it's a con. It's all about a con honors conning other cons.
Okay, that sounds like her. All right, I think she could have outconned any con person.
There you go.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Leslie was not a fan, however. So lots of thoughts here.
Did you guys have any thoughts? So as we're on this Grushenka scene, the tavern owner, did you have any thoughts on the tavern owner? I know you brought him up earlier, but do you think he was a commentary on anything from Dostoevsky's perspective?
I didn't care for him. I thought he was just kind of buttering his bread, where flipping from person to person, and kind of one minute he's Dimitri's friend and the next he's like turning him into the cops. So I think he was just all out looking for himself. But as far as what he symbolizes at that time in Russia, I'm not sure.
Yeah, he seems kind of like an opportunist or a capitalist to me.
Opportunist. Oh, a capitalist.
Right? Why don't you spend some more money over here? Oh, we'll get rid of these guys. Well, why don't you go spend some money over here? It seemed to me like this came out right around the time that he would be having that conversation.
Okie doke, guys. I think, I don't want to cut anybody off, but I know that we wanted to talk about book 10. So let's move on to book 10. And if you want to chat with us more about anything else, please do in the Discord. Okay, so book 10. There's a lot of argument about whether this book fit, whether people enjoyed this book. And for the very few of us who enjoyed it, there's that. So book 10, at first seems only tangentially connected to the plot of the rest of the book. Pretty much the only connection is that it's recalls an earlier section about the characters of Ilyusha and Alyosha when they met in the street, and Alyosha tried to save Ilyusha from being bullied, and Ilyusha bit his finger. So, but even that isn't mentioned right away. We start with the portrait of a character briefly glimpsed in that scene when Alyosha tries to save him. This boy that the section starts with is part of the mob that was antagonizing Ilyusha. and his name is Kolya Krasotkin. I'm sure I'm mispronouncing that. He's a very smart young boy, very charismatic. He's a leader of all the boys around his age, but he's also very insecure, and he can be despotic when trying to secure his position and ensure loyalty. So, and we see that in his treatment of Ilyusha. He's trying to reform Ilyusha for animal cruelty, even though we see that Ilyusha was grief-stricken almost instantly after his offense. So as a result, though, of this treatment from his friend, Ilyusha weakens and sickens and is near death by the time Kolya finally visits him. And yeah, so essentially that's what the scene is, that's what this whole book is about Ilyusha almost, I don't think he dies at the end of it, but he's very near death by the end of it because he's just been like tortured to death by his friend, essentially by guilt, for committing animal cruelty and then being ignored and bullied and stuff. So that was really sad. I definitely cried. However, the meeting does result in one positive thing, which is that Kolya meets Alyosha, the Karamazov brother, and Kolya actually commits himself to Alyosha, saying that he will only obey Alyosha, which I think has some symbolic significance. So I thought the real connection of book 10 to the rest of the book is like symbolic, and I'll get into that, but I wanted to give other people a chance to also explain their thoughts, because I know that there was feelings and thoughts in abundance on this section. So what do you suppose that Dostoevsky was trying to accomplish with book 10, The Boys, it's called? And did he succeed, and how did you feel about it?
We'll start with Victoria.
Yeah, I know Victoria had strong feelings about this.
Yeah, start with the people that are wrong. That's good.
Wow. I didn't even say anything yet. And I'm wrong already.
Comments in the Discord.
I can see your tone.
Oh, the tone. Well, okay, so I really struggled through book 10 a bit until I got towards the end and Alyosha appears, and I was like, oh, this is about Alyosha. Because before he appears, I was just like, what? This book just took a 180. I don't know who these people are. What's going on? And yeah, I had a hard time at first figuring out who these people are and what was their purpose, and just going completely away from the main story, I felt. But Dostoevsky has done that before in this book, right? He's dropped a whole Zosimov side story, so it's not completely unexpected. He's done that before. It just I didn't enjoy this particular side story. I think I see what the purpose of it was now, and that was in bringing Alyosha into the story and showing Alyosha like taking on another generation and teaching them like what he has learned. And we see that as like Kolya becomes kind of a disciple of Alyosha, right? In the way that Zosimov took Alyosha as a disciple as well. And so I think that's the ultimate point of this story. I didn't enjoy the journey getting to that point, but I understand it. I understand it now. I think.
That's a great insight that I didn't even get that much from it. Victoria. I just like you, Victoria, I started reading book 10 and I'm like, okay, we're really just, screeching the brakes on this other storyline. And we're going to explore this person and see how they tie in. Great. So I'm reading it and I'm like, okay, I don't know where this is going. And then it starts talking about the socialism. I am a socialist. I'm a 14-year-old boy and I'm a socialist. And I'm like, okay.
Talking with this monk, right? Totally normal.
Totally normal. And I'm like, all right, so you're a 14-year-old and you're so adamant about being a socialist. So I'm like, okay, so Dostoevsky's going to go on a commentary here about socialism. I mean, so I was like, all right. Then he visits the boy and you don't know if he's going to be cruel to him or kind. And then there was one touching moment for me in that book was when he sat on the bed and despite himself, he stroked the sick boy's hair. That stood out to me. That was that was beautiful. That was a very intimate thing to do to someone, to show pure love. So I was like, okay, well, this kid is kind of insufferable, but that was really sweet. So he just thought he knew more than everyone, you know. He's just like, listen to me. I know all the courtly manners, and I know how to, you know. We've all known a young person like that, and you just want to. Sorry.
So
Anyway,
I want to take what Victoria said and just copy and paste that into. We've already recorded like our talk, Crypto Nice, talk on that. I want to just replace what I said with what Victoria said because she said it a lot more eloquently than what I could come up with. But that's the same takeaway that I had. Is the have you guys read A Christmas Carol, Charles Dickens?
Uh-huh.
So one of the scenes that's always cut and it drives me nuts is there's a scene where I think it's Ebenezer goes to the window, and this is when the Marleys I think came to visit them as ghosts, and he looks out the window and what does he see? He sees tons of ghosts over all of the city, and that's to tell you that this isn't just an Ebenezer Scrooge story. This is everyone who's greedy, everyone who looks out for themselves. There's many people like this, and it makes a societal story, and we have to do this to everyone. We have to train the next generation in a sense, and that's kind of the same takeaway that I had with what the point of 10 was. Is it was the entire Brothers K novel smashed into one chapter in terms of the suffering of children, in terms of teaching active love. There is no reason for the suffering, but what we can do is make them feel comfort. You had the socialism commentary, like everything in the Brothers K you can find in chapter 10. And I think that's that looking out the window moment to realize this isn't a Karamazov story. This is a Russia story that we need to be talking about when it comes to these topics.
That's really good. Yeah.
So let me relate this to food. Everybody will get this. The whole book is like one of those giant Snickers bars. 10 is the little bite-sized Snickers bar that you get like 1.5 bite out of. And I think one of the major points of 10, and obviously this is where we stopped, and I think that this is this is why chapters are invented for a reason, but I also think it does you a disservice by stopping at 10. When you continue reading,
you want to keep going, yeah.
You will see, I think that you'll be like, oh, I get it. I was so wrong about 10, because it's going to give you all of these breadcrumbs to make this beautiful pasta at the end. And I think that the juxtaposition of this section really helps you understand all the books in their totality, because you can understand the innocence. You can understand people suffering without reason. You can understand the murder, the motive. It'll help you figure out who had done it. And that Dimitri. Sometimes there is no discernible reason to why. And I think that all of that is smushed into this one book, and it just gives you that little bite-sized taste to kind of finish off and be like, oh, okay, now I understand.
Yeah.
So the 11 and 12 are really going to help hit home how important 10 is, and actually how really good it is. Because it's my second favorite of everything. I mean, there's 5, and I think there's 10.
Okay.
Yeah, and just
give it a chance.
Yeah, I definitely will. I'm just saying that. Just remember, first time reader, right? And Victoria, first time reader. Christy, I know you are too, right? Of this one, but you've had experience with major Dostoevsky works before. So I'm just saying, as a first time I read the book 10, that's my initial reaction. I already know that I need to reread this book, this whole book. I need to reread it to really, grok it. So so I am open to all interpretations as I move forward.
I hope that you understand I'm being a little bit jovial with it.
Of course.
I mean, there's no wrong way to feel about how you reading through this, because it definitely can be tedious. I mean, that and lack of a better word, 10 can be tedious, not knowing book and 11 and 12 can be the payoff.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess I just felt the first time being introduced. Thank you. Thank you.
No, I think she sneezed. I don't know.
Oh, thank you. Well, you can bless everyone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
you are a father.
Crypto.
Yeah.
You are father. There you go.
Okay.
So yeah, I guess I was left wondering at the end. I know I was supposed to get something from this, and I was a little frustrated because I'm like, I can't see it right now. But like you guys were saying, maybe it's because I just needed to keep reading, So as I move into book 11 and 12, it'll make more sense.
What side of the bed was Alyosha on during that scene?
Man, the right side.
Oh
of the
my
bed.
goodness.
Good stuff.
Which side of the mouth did the dog chew on the razor blades? I don't know.
Oh my god,
Oh, don't bring that up.
that was upsetting. Oh,
I did
Thanks,
get a little
Crypto.
bit angry at that, because I'm a dog lover, and I'm like, oh man,
that
that's
is a
brutal.
crappy thing to do, Lucia.
What Dostoevsky? Where does he come up with this stuff, man? Like, what
I
were they doing to
know.
dogs in
That's
Russia?
dark.
Well, yeah, I don't even want to know. I'm sure not good things.
Yeah.
Mm-mm. If they treated kids, a certain way, I can only imagine how they treated their animals.
True.
But anyway,
Oh, good. I'm glad to hear that, Danny. It's definitely more organized than normal.
Danny calling Crypto out for his Florida food too.
Yes.
Snickers or
Snickers are
Florida
awesome.
food?
mm,
They don't have Snickers up north.
You're eating like
Snickers and pasta.
Will Ferrell in Elf when he puts like the sugar and the candy on top.
Spaghetti and the syrup.
Yes.
I don't even like pasta.
Oh my god.
Oh my goodness. Okay, we had some really, really great comments here in the chat. So
Are you
maybe
really gonna say, you're really gonna say we had some great comments in the chat and put up Una, I'm gonna smack you on both sides? That's how we're gonna time this? Okay.
that was a particularly great comment.
Both sides.
I just thought that was funny. Okay, so but I wanted to talk about Matthew for Mayberry Book Club. He had some really good insights here. So in 10, I almost feel like there's nothing that even needs to be said because you guys pretty much said it all. I think it is a miniature of what all the characters are doing in this story. It took me a while to kind of wrap my head around it, but it's an extension of the theme reason versus faith. How I think because there's Alyosha doing the faith thing, and Ilyusha, he has all these reasons, but he ends up sort of bowing to faith eventually because I don't know, it just got his actions didn't actually help Ilyusha, even though did I say Ilyusha before? I meant Kolya before. Kolya's actions did not end up helping Ilyusha, despite all of his reason. But I feel like you guys said it better, so we'll just go with that. But I do really love what Matthew said here. There's some connection between the children and the adults. They're probably miniatures of each other.
Yeah, we've seen that in a lot of post-religious crisis Tolstoy too. Two juggernauts of Russian literature. He liked to write. Another thing is he liked to write about how so that the children are miniatures and they learn from the adults, right? Like what they see the adults do is what they will perform. And here's Alyosha trying to teach them the act of love too, right? But also you'll notice there's tons of references to Dmitri looking like a child throughout these sections. And that's one of the big things with Jesus was he would always say, be like a child, be quick to forget, hate, be quick to forgive, be quick to love, that sort of thing. And he'd always have the children come to him. And there's just a lot of references to Dmitri being like a child. And then there's the teaching of the children in the section too. And this also you have to remember, we started on 8 where it's all sensual. And that's directly following the Zosima chapters when it is, these are my teachings. And we get to see even a little parallel of them learning into chapter 10 too. It's each book is almost kind of like a little circular reference with the themes with the previous one and introducing new ones. And it keeps coming back over and over again.
Wow.
Oh, this is interesting.
had no
So
idea.
faith. Sorry.
No, that's
Talking
okay.
to
I was
you
just saying you guys are like awesome, like teachers of truth here. Una and Crypto are. That's what I need to hear, man. Because as I'm reading, sometimes I struggle, and I know that there's higher, points to be made or symbolism, and sometimes I'm just not getting it. So
Same. I feel that way too, Peg.
okay, great.
Well, the trick is you don't actually have to understand it. You just have to be really convincing, and then people think you understand it. That's our trick right there.
I gotta work at that.
Or read the book 3 times. That'll help too.
Yeah, that might help.
Cheater.
Oh, I know we're running out of time, but Dimitri's dream, and I know that was back.
Oh
in
yeah,
book-
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that was back in book 9, I think, right?
Yeah, Peg, you had some thoughts on that. That his dream was related to his redemption.
Well, I know because you had asked, do you think it was related to something historical, like an historical event of like maybe a famine at the time? Why was he riding along a road and seeing all these people, and especially with young children, and then a woman holding an infant who was frozen and had obviously starved to death? And I didn't, did like a quick check on that. There was like really nothing. It's mostly, and in my mind, it had nothing to do about history or an event. To me, it showed that Dimitri had he had like an epiphany after he got arrested, and he was just very happy, whatever his fate. And he has this dream, and he has all this compassion. Why is there's this suffering? Why did that baby starve? Why did that baby freeze? And so I was just like, Dimitri, man, losing that sensuality, right, and moving it more towards a big moral, the things in life that are really important.
What's the word you're looking for? What is it? Does it start with an R? Does
Redemption.
it end with There you go.
Redemption. Yeah, I felt like it was a sign of spiritual redemption because he dreamt that. So that was just my take on that.
So we've had a dream from Alyosha, right? We've had a dream from Dimitri.
Oh.
Are we going to get a dream from Yvonne?
I would love it. I do want to understand.
I wonder if Dostoevsky's doing a theme here.
Yeah, I am so ready to dive into the next book for sure.
So if we agree, Dimitri's dream was a sign or form of redemption, right? Giving up the sensuality for, a more honest light. If we remember correctly, Alyosha's, would we consider his any type of a redemption dream too? I think that was right at the time where Zosima was passing, and now we see him kind of passing on Zosima's teachings out in the world, kind of like Jesus, right? Like he was going out in the world and living that life of getting into the dirt of where is the sin, where is the crime, and then trying to teach them. I wonder if Yvonne's going to have a dream. What could that be?
I'm guessing so.
Oh, she put up predictions.
Oh,
I'm not trying to change the subject.
So how long in jail will Dimitri go, right? Because he's definitely the murderer, just saying.
It's funny. This is like the last section, right? These are like the last, or like...
Yeah, the next will be the last chunk, correct?
The last chunk. Okay, so as far as finding out who the killer is, I mean, obviously, you already know my answer. I'm not changing it. But I don't know what's going to happen to the other brothers. Does Dimitri... Does he just stay in jail? Does he get killed by someone in jail? Does he commit suicide? Is he set free? We don't know, right? So to me, that's a big unknown. I have no idea I wouldn't be surprised if Dimitri does die in this book. I don't know why I feel that, but I've got a feeling like something bad might happen to Dimitri. I still think that Yvonne is guilty and that the reasons will be revealed.
He's guilty, no motive. Closed case.
What will happen to him, though? What do you think?
He is so smart and cagey, and I think this guy knows his way around the world even more than Dimitri, because Dimitri at heart is a very simple, soul, simple heart. I think Yvonne he'll skip.
You think he'll get away with it if he did it?
I do.
Interesting. You give him a lot of credit.
Well,
what?
Again, first time reader. So.
Love it. I love it. All right, Victoria, hit us.
Oh gosh, I don't know.
Haven't you changed your answer every time?
Pretty much.
That's great writing right there.
I'm gonna hit one of them eventually if I just keep adding people.
I knew it. I told you it was gonna be him.
I said that, didn't I?
Haven't everybody you picked died too?
Let's see.
We had a
say it was Fyodor and that it was suicide. Please.
We had a commenter earlier that said, "I think it's the dog." He definitely had.
I think it's the dog. The dog demands justice.
The dog demands justice, and he will get it.
Oh man. I don't think it's Yvonne, but we'll see, because I know this apparently, as Una has foreshadowed, this next part will focus on Yvonne a bit more. So I assume. I don't currently think it's Yvonne. I do think there's holes in Dimitri's story, and I think we need, I don't know, I think we need a little more answers from him as well about the money, because the money is definitely a question of, I don't know, maybe I missed like where he got the money, and he's just saying like, well, I just didn't spend what I had. I don't know, because I know I said before that he was seemed more of an honest character, but that the omission of that information was dishonest in a way as well. So I can't forget that. So maybe he's in my mind. Also, Leslie brought up Smerdyakov because he was in the house, right? And he has faked an epileptic fit, or has talked about faking a fit.
You don't like liars, do you? You can't
No.
forget Dimitri. You just don't like them liars.
And as far as side characters go, we've had some scenes with Smerdyakov, like Smerdyakov and the guitar. Like we've seen him as a side character a little bit more. It's been a while since he's kind of appeared in the book, but like we've had some scenes with him, which makes me think maybe there's a setup with that. Maybe Gregory, he just got up and he was fine, or he killed him, and then he got hit over the head, and now he's no longer a suspect. I think Danny had that theory, I think, or someone did in the chat.
Now, Christy, you said you've been spoiled. Are you able to at least throw up what your original guess was without going, expounding into why is due to you being spoiled, or are you able to share that?
Yeah, I can. I actually wrote out a lot of my notes before being spoiled, so I can just, tell you. So I thought that there would be more suffering. That's always a safe bet for predictions.
Well, there's a Dostoevsky reader if I ever heard one.
Yeah. I also thought that the next two books were going to be about Dimitri because of the trial, and Ivan because we haven't seen him for a while. And that was partly why I guessed that Ivan was going to be the killer, because I was like, well, we haven't seen him for so long, and obviously the next section better be, I hope, about Dimitri's trial, or else I'm going to rebel. So that was my guess.
You're gonna
but I couldn't figure out a reason.
He stole my notes.
Yeah, did you go, what'd you put, Peg?
Out.
She is over. She can see down into those notes.
Right.
Look straight down.
I gotta cover up my notes here.
Yeah.
All right, so what are we're finishing the book off. When's the next live stream?
Yes. This is the end.
Oh,
okay.
my gosh.
No, this isn't really the end. The next one is the end. So this was the end of the fourth discussion, however. And I just wanted to remind you guys before we get going to join our Discord for more discussion. It is linked in the description, and subscribe to our channels for more about the book. And don't forget to check out Victoria's musical playlist. So our next live stream will be April 1st at 7 p.m. EST, 4 p.m. PST, and it will cover books 11 through the end. And I'm so excited. So thank you everybody so much for coming. It was really, really, really good to talk with you guys. And I love, there was a really sweet comment from Kate here. These live shows make me feel like I'm back in grad school in a good way. Thank you, Kate. We're so glad you're here. And thank you everybody for your predictions, for your thoughts. It was really good to talk with everybody, and everybody up here. Thank you, Crypto. Thank you, Una. Thank you, Peg. And thank you, Victoria. This was really wonderful. Bye, everybody.
Okay, bye.